Good morning. People quite often talk to me about thoughts in meditation, and they usually present it as a problem. How can I get rid of all these thoughts that torment me all the time? My mind is so busy with thoughts. It's like a deluge. It's overwhelming. I can't stop them. What can I do about this? So maybe the first thing to say is that thoughts in the mind are like sense impressions. In Buddhism, the mind is a sixth sense. We have the ordinary five senses. We see things, we hear things, we taste things, we smell things, we touch things. But also we perceive things in the mind. Things arise in the mind, just like the other sense perceptions. And the next thing I want to mention is something which a Burmese teacher called Ajahn Chah talks about. He's talking about noises which we experience coming from outside of ourselves. So coming through the ear sense, the sense of hearing. And often we can find these bothersome in meditation, a bit like the thoughts. How do we deal with these noises? And Ajahn Chah says that it's not the noises that bother us, it's us that bother the noises. That's to say that when we hear a noise which disturbs us in meditation, or indeed at any other time, we tend to reach out and grasp hold of it as though our mind has tentacles, and we reach out and grasp hold of this noise and we try and tell it to shut up, or we want it to go away. How dare it make this noise when we're practicing meditation? It's quite ironic, if we're practicing the Bodhivajra and someone, maybe a neighbour or someone, is just outside and they're making a particular kind of noise. Maybe they're even just talking. And we kind of lay into them a bit with our mind. So they just stop. I'm trying to do the Bodhivajra. I mean, it's a bit ironic, really, isn't it, that we have that attitude to the noises. So it is quite possible with noises off, as long as they're not too close and too loud. It is possible with them to just accept them as part of the environment in which we are meditating. I've tuned into a number of meditations which have been worldwide lately on Zoom. And sometimes there's people there from India, say, for example, and there you can see somebody sitting to meditate, and there's bustle, there's activity going on all around them, noise. And you think, how do they do that? How do they meditate with that noise going on? But they do. So they're used to a different kind of environment, perhaps. We seem to have this idea that we've got to be completely secluded and quiet for meditation. Sure, we need a certain degree of quiet and a certain degree of being undisturbed, but we do have to look out for our own mind which bothers the noises. Sometimes we can even be grateful for a noise, because a noise suddenly brings us to, wakes us up, we realise we've been distracted, so we come back to the object of meditation. And it's like this with thoughts that continually come into our mind. They're just arising in the sense perception of the mind. They don't really have any substance or any reality. They just arise out of emptiness, which is the true nature of the mind. But yet we grasp onto the attractive ones, like chasing rainbows, wanting to grab hold of rainbows because they're so beautiful, so appealing, so attractive. So with the pleasant thoughts, we want to follow them, we want to do something with them. And with the unpleasant thoughts, we put a lot of energy into pushing them away. Don't want these thoughts, don't like these thoughts, these are dark thoughts. So instead of this, we need to adopt an attitude of letting them be, just like all the other sense impressions that arise. Just imagine that if every time we saw something or heard something or touched something, smelt something, tasted something, if every time we had one of those sensations that we treated them in the same way that we treat our thoughts, grasping onto all the pleasant ones, pushing away all the unpleasant ones, it would be mad, wouldn't it? Ah, there's a blue sky and sunshine today. Grasp, grasp, grasp. Ah, it's raining today and I've got a headache, I feel unwell. Push away, push away, push away. So there's just so many sense impressions, far too many. And all of them really are lacking in substance, lacking in reality. All of them are cloud-like, mirage-like. And yet we try to do something with them, do something about them. And especially so with the thoughts, because the thoughts seem to be really close up. They seem to be part of us. Perhaps because we experience them internally. But the other sense impressions, we perceive those internally as well. The object of the sense perception may be outside of us, but the recognition of those things is internal, isn't it? It's our mind which processes those sense impressions. So we can't possibly deal with all of the sense impressions that we experience. Yet we're caught in this world. There's a line from a text I read sometimes which says something like, mesmerized by the sheer variety of perceptions, which are like the illusory reflections of the moon in water. Beings wander endlessly astray in samsara's vicious cycle. So we get mesmerized, we get caught with all of these perceptions all of the time. So in meditation, it's a great opportunity to learn to not take these perceptions so seriously. And if we do that, if we can let the perceptions be, let the thoughts be, any other sensory arisings, we can learn to just let them be. We maybe acknowledge that they're there, acknowledge they're arising, but we don't do anything with them or about them. We don't have to. Right now is our meditation time. So anytime we are diverted by any of these thoughts or bothered by them or any other sense perceptions like sounds, we just come back to the practice in a simple way, in a way which is not trying to control everything. We're not trying to control the thoughts that have arisen. We just let them be. Just think of them as mirages or clouds. They needn't bother us. We needn't bother them, more importantly. It's a case of what we do with our mind rather than what the sense perceptions do to us. They don't do anything to us, really, in reality. They're insubstantial. So in these ways we can begin to move towards more of a blue sky, experience of mind, or an open experience of mind. Things happen within that blue sky, but that's okay. We can still allow our attention to rest on the object of meditation, or really what we want our mind to rest on. We have a choice. We don't have to chase mirages. We don't have to chase rainbows or be caught up with clouds.